Hey guys, we are here with your fitness tip of the day. Today we're going to be doing some balance drills. Take you through a couple things to make balance easier, and then we're going to go through a couple things to make it harder. For anyone, especially those of you at home that feel comfortable, it is better shoes off if you are somewhere like at work while you're doing this and you need to leave your shoes on. Obviously you can, but if possible, pop them off. So the first thing we are going to do, basically to establish the baseline, especially as the first two drills are going to make it easier. Stand on one leg, hold for just like 5 seconds, kind of feel how it is. Stand on the other leg, hold for about 5 seconds, see how it is. If either one of them feels particularly hard, we're going to hone in on that leg. If both feel really good, we'll make it a little bit harder. Do the same thing, but close your eyes. We want to find a difficulty level where, like I'm doing now, you wobble a little bit, but not so much that you're worried about falling. So again, find whichever leg is worse. Our first trick, this is my favorite party trick. I like to confuse people with it. So I'm going to do my right leg because that was the one that I just tested. You are going to plug your left nostril and breathe in really aggressively. That is actually the secret. If you just kind of sniff in and out, it's not going to do anything. We need to stimulate the cranial nerve because it sits next to the one for your writing reflex. Do that about 5 times. So you go. Take just about a second or two, and then we're going to retest under the same conditions. Again, this isn't going to be some miracle cure, but it should make your balance at least 5 to 10% better. Give that a few seconds, or depending on how it was, if you want to try the other leg. For our second tip, what we're going to do here is to mess with your vestibular system, or benefit your vestibular system. So basically that is the part of your inner ear that helps you find vertical and horizontal in space. So when your eyes are open, you can see that the ground is flat. When you close your eyes, or when you're on one foot trying to find that, can be tricky. What we're going to do, find a wall. We're not leaning all the way into it. Take literally about a fingernail, pop it on the wall. This is going to tell your vestibular system where vertical is, which tells it where horizontal is. So even though I'm not leaning in the wall, this is going to give me a much better sense of where horizontal is. So if I take my finger off, I start to wobble a little bit, literally just enough to know where it is. Not leaning into it, but I'm rock solid there. So these can be beneficial because you can use them, especially if you have bad balance. You can start to train under those conditions. It doesn't need to be pushed to a hard level. If standing with your eyes open is hard, do those things. Spend a little bit of time standing with your eyes open. As you get better, you can start to make it harder, which will move us into our next two tricks. The first one we're going to do, so this is for people who already have good balance, but would like to work on it. Say you do a complex sport, or just for whatever reason you want to be good at balance. First one, we're going to come to that single leg. We are going to do a visual drill called a vestibulo-ocular reflex. So you can use the thumb, hold a pen, pick a point on the wall, but once we're in that single leg support, I'm going to pretend I'm using my thumb. Keep your eye on your thumb. We're going to go back and forth with the head, not losing focus on your thumb, pen, whatever it is that you're using. Ideally, we want it fairly close, or if you're using something on a wall, pick a fairly large object. It doesn't need to be hard to see, just something that you can keep in focus. That one, kind of go by how you feel. Ways to modify, you can also do what's called a sprinter stance. So we're most of the weights here, but we've got just a little bit of balance help. So if this is too much, but this is too easy, go halfway in between. Same for our next one. This one's going to be a little bit harder, and now we're going to influence your vestibular system again, but rather than in a positive way how we did here, we're going to do it in a negative way for a palliative effect. By working it in a harder circumstance, it will make it better. So for this first one, again, in a single leg or a sprinter stance or whatever you need, we're going to tilt the head nice and slowly side to side. As we go, it's going to trick your inner ear into thinking that we're moving a little bit, and will make balance harder. Well, this one can also be made harder based on the speed that you go. I don't usually recommend that with the VOR because if you go too fast, you might get dizzy and that doesn't help anything. But this one, if you go a little bit faster back and forth or close the eyes, as you can see, that makes it quite difficult. So these can be good if you have good balance and you want to challenge it, make yourself better in general. So that is your fitness tip for today. Have fun.